The night started quietly, just like most Fridays. I had finished work early, ordered takeout, and was halfway through a basketball game when my phone buzzed. It was a text from my wife, Emily. Flight got delayed, staying in Denver. I frowned. She was supposed to be back tonight after her company's 3-day seminar. I typed back casually, "All right, just get some rest. See you tomorrow." But something about it didn't sit right. Maybe it was how she phrased it. No explanation, no photo, no call, just a text. Emily always called when plans changed, especially if it involved a delay. I leaned back, trying to shake it off, but the unease kept crawling up my spine. Out of habit, I opened Find My Phone, something we both kept on for emergencies. The little dot that was supposed to be in Denver wasn't. It was in Orlando. I blinked, thinking maybe it hadn't refreshed properly. I closed the app, reopened it, refreshed again. Still Orlando. My chest tightened. Orlando. She told me the seminar was in Denver. Even sent photos from the conference hall earlier this week. I sat there staring at the screen, my thoughts unraveling faster than I could control them. Maybe she'd had a connecting flight. Maybe plans changed. But then why lie? I called her. No answer. Tried again, straight to voicemail. I sent a message. "Hey, just checking in. Everything okay?" The double blue ticks appeared, but no reply. That was the moment I knew something was wrong. Not just wrong, intentional. I poured myself a drink, sat at the dining table, and stared at our wedding photo on the wall. Her smile, so sure, so bright, felt like a ghost now. The Emily I knew wouldn't lie. Or maybe she would, and I just never caught it before. Hours passed. Around midnight, I got a message. "Sorry, phone died earlier. Just getting to the hotel now." I stared at it, the screen glowing against the dark room. The timestamp said it was sent from Orlando International. I checked again and the location still hadn't changed. She was lying. I typed back slowly. "How's Denver weather treating you?" There was a pause. Then, cold as always. "I'll call you in the morning." My stomach dropped. I could almost hear her fake laugh, the same one she used whenever she didn't want to answer a direct question. I didn't reply. Instead, I screenshotted her location and saved it. Something inside me broke that night. Not in anger, but in disbelief. The kind of disbelief that doesn't shout, doesn't cry, just sits there quietly watching everything you thought was real start to fade. The next morning, sunlight poured through the blinds, but it didn't feel like morning. I hadn't slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her messages replaying her voice, her lies. At 8 a.m., I texted her, "Good morning. How's the hotel breakfast?" It took her 20 minutes to respond. "Didn't eat yet. Heading to a meeting." I clenched my jaw. A meeting on a Saturday. I decided I'd had enough of guessing. I called one of her coworkers, Jessica, someone I'd met a few times at office events. "Hey, sorry to bother," I said lightly. "Just checking. Did the Denver seminar wrap up yesterday?" There was a pause. Then Jessica replied, "Yeah, yesterday afternoon. Most of us flew back last night." My pulse pounded. "Emily too?" I asked. Jessica hesitated. "I think so. She left with a different group." "Why?" "Just wondering," I said, forcing a laugh. I hung up and stared at my reflection in the blank TV screen. The truth was starting to form an ugly shape, one that I couldn't unsee. Emily hadn't gone to Denver for a seminar. She'd gone to Orlando to someone else. By noon, I decided to call her again. This time, she picked up, her tone too cheerful. "Hey, honey. Sorry I missed your call last night. Everything okay?" I took a slow breath. "Yeah, everything's fine. Just curious, though. How's Denver? There was silence. A long one. What do you mean? She finally said. I told you it's freezing here. I glanced at the screenshot on my phone, her pin glowing in the middle of Orlando Beach. That's strange, I said quietly, because your location says otherwise. The silence turned sharp, heavy. I heard her inhale, then stumble over her words. Wait, what? No, that must be a glitch. You know how those apps are. I didn't respond. I just listened to the panic rising in her voice, to the guilt she was trying to hide. Finally, she snapped. Why are you tracking me? Don't you trust me? I laughed bitterly. I did, I said, until last night. The call ended abruptly. I stared at the phone, numb. Minutes later, a text appeared. I can explain. Then another. Please don't do anything stupid. I'll be home tomorrow. But I didn't want her explanations. I wanted the truth, the real one. And if she wouldn't tell me, I'd find it myself. That night, I opened her laptop, the one. She always kept logged into her work email. My hands trembled as I scrolled through messages. Then I saw it. A flight confirmation. Denver to Orlando. And the name of a second passenger, Nathan Harris. Nathan Harris. The name hit me like a cold slap. I knew that name. He was her old colleague from her previous firm. I remembered him from her stories, the way she used to laugh when she mentioned his jokes. How she'd say, Nathan just gets my humor. I never thought much of it then, but seeing his name on that flight confirmation, that was something else. The emails showed they had booked the trip together. Same dates, same return flight. My chest tightened as I scrolled further. Attached were hotel reservations, 1 room, 1 bed. I shut the laptop and just sat there, staring at the wall. The quietness of the house was unbearable. Every sound, the ticking clock, the wind brushing against the window, felt amplified. My hands were shaking, not out of anger yet, but heartbreak. How long had she been doing this? How long had I been the fool, believing in her late nights, her extra meetings, her company dinners? By the next day, she was back. The sound of her suitcase rolling across the floor echoed like thunder. Hey, she said softly, standing in the doorway, sunglasses on, pretending like everything was fine. Flight got in early. I looked up from the couch, expressionless. From Denver, I asked. She froze. I could see the lie forming behind her lips, the rehearsed words ready to spill. Yes, she said finally. From Denver. I stood up slowly, handed her my phone. The screenshot of her Orlando location filled the screen. Her eyes widened, then darted away. John, it's not what you think. Then what is it, Emily? I interrupted, my voice calm but cold. Because your flight, your hotel, your companion, everything says Orlando. Everything says Nathan. Her lips trembled. It wasn't like that. We just needed to talk to clear things up. It was supposed to be professional. Professional. I laughed bitterly. You booked a king suite with your ex-coworker. You lied to me, Emily. Not once, not by accident. Every step of the way. She didn't speak. Her eyes filled with tears, but I'd seen that act before. The kind meant to soften me, to make me forget. Not this time. I want you out, I said quietly. Tonight. She reached for my arm. Please, John. I messed up. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I stepped back. You didn't mean for me to find out, I said. There's a difference. She sobbed, but I turned away, numb. The woman who once promised forever had traded it for a few nights of deceit. And as her footsteps faded down the hall, I knew one thing for certain. Whatever love I had for her died somewhere between Denver and Orlando. The end.